Welcome back to the news section, guys. In this one, the first lecture is the plugin introduction. So what is a plugin? A plugin is a class library, or you can say set of classes. So when you compile the set of classes, you get something called a DLL file. We also call it as assembly file. A plugin is an assembly file which has some custom code in it, and you are going to register that on some server side event. So what are the server side event, guys? So they are typically creating a record, updating a record, or deleting a record, or assigning a record. So these are the or typical examples of the events. In this dynamics terminology, an event, we also call it as a message. So message and event both are actually the same thing. You can write your custom code and as a plugin, and then you can upload that custom code to the Microsoft cloud, and you can register them on some specific events. So we'll discuss more about events later, but first of all, we need to first understand what a plugin is. So example, I have given one example here on entering revenue field of a contact record. You want to perform some complex tax related calculation automatically. This is a perfect example for writing a plugin, because we want to calculate some tax or do some logic which is not available in the product. So hence the custom code. So we are going to register this on, see it says on entering revenue field of contact record. So when someone updates revenue on contact, so you want to run your custom logic, right? So here the event is update, the entity is contact. So that is the trigger point where you register your event. So now we need to understand the plugin pipeline. Okay, so here you have a basic client. So this part is client, this is client, and this is the entire big box is server. So here we have lots of abstraction. For example, I have just given that the user is on this laptop, he's accessing let's say a contact record. So when he saves the contact record, the data is passed to the server, and then the main event. So what is the main event here? We are assuming contact entity create event. Okay, let's say it's a create event. So, and this data in the platform, what it does is it pushes the data into the database, and then the response comes back like this, and then the page will be reloaded. Now you see a contact as a saved contact. So for example, when you update revenue field of a contact, again it updated data, it is passed like this, and it goes to the system main event. So the now main event is update. Now the platform takes care of inserting the data, which is abstraction, which we don't know, and then the response comes back. Now the page is reloaded. So every time a client changes something, so there is a round trip, right? So you need to understand this round trip. Okay, so here there is no custom code involved. Okay, so there are no plugins here. But what we are doing is Microsoft is giving you the ability to write some custom code on the server. So this blue box is server. You can insert your custom code before the main event or after the main event. So let us say if you are creating a contact and you want to run some custom code. So that's a custom code you can write as a class library, and you upload it to the server and register before contact create. So which means that at this area, or at this area which we call it as post event. So we'll go to the next slide. I'll show you. There you go. This diagram shows different stages where you can write your custom code. See, the main event, it doesn't change. You cannot edit this main event. You can insert your custom code either here or here or here. So before the main event, we have two stages. We call each of this box is called a stage. Okay, so first stage is called pre-validation stage. The second stage is pre-operation, and this is the main event. So here we cannot write any custom code. So the next stage is post-operation stage. As a user, when you actually change something on the contact, let's say you're creating the contact. So now again, you can imagine the data goes like this, and it goes to in this stage. So if you're writing any custom code, so your custom code can access this contact data. You can modify the data with your custom code, and then the data goes to the next stage. Here also you have the opportunity to modify the data, and then it goes to the main event. So in the main event, it takes the modified data, and then platform inserts into the database, and then it goes to the post operation stage. Again, if you have a plugin here, that will be executed, and then the data is passed back to the client browser. This is called pipeline because it actually executes in sequence. So first pre-validation, pre-operation, core event, the main event of the system, and at the end, the post operation. Okay, so if you want to do some changes before the data is inserted, so I would actually go for these stages, pre-validation or pre-operation. Let us say I want to run some custom code. Once record is inserted into the database, now I'm going to write some code on the post operation. So it changes, it depends on the scenario. Okay, let us say that you want to send out an email after a contact is created. So then probably I would actually write that logic in the post operation. So I'll insert the code here in the stage. Let us say that I want to do some validation for the before the data is inserted. So I'll do validations in this stage, or maybe sometimes in this stage also. I hope you understood it, guys. If you have any questions, please post those questions. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.